Was there a defining moment, a specific experience, a room where you were in, a conversation you had, when you realized that your true purpose was to create visibility and access for women? And when that moment hit you, what did it feel like?
I remember that I had a really rough week in a past job that I had. And I woke up one morning just having this thought in the back of my head. And the thought was very simple. Do I have to deal with all of this again and again? And I remember going to the mirror at the bathroom, because that's the second thing that I do. When I wake up, I go straight to the bathroom and I look at myself. I'm like, seriously? And in that moment, I knew that I had to do something. I had to talk to people. I had to figure out why this keeps happening, and why do we always have to be apologetic about being who we are as women, and for everyone that also identifies as a woman, why we always have to be second guessed about our decisions. The social institutions or different parts around the world have to make decisions for us.
Yeah.
So I think that that was the moment where I said, let's get out there and let's see if we can find more people that think in a similar way.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome back to another episode of You Are You Unapologetically. You know, we are that podcast where we celebrate every version of you and remind you that the world needs what you are building. All of it, unapologetically. So, our episode today is called She Built a Global Table and Made Sure Every Woman Had a Seat. And I want to ask you something. You know, I always open up with a question anyway. So here it is. Have you ever sat in a room or tried to get into one and realized that nobody there looked like you? That's the conversations happening, the deals being made, the opportunities being passed around. None of it was designed with you in mind. And instead of waiting for someone to notice, instead of hoping the room would eventually make space, what if you decided to build an entirely different room? A bigger one, a global one where women from every background, every culture, every corner of the world are not just allowed in, but seen, funded, supported, and heard. That is what today's conversation is all about. That audacity to say the world needs what women are building. And I'm going to make sure the world knows it. This is an episode about visibility, about access, about community, and about the unapologetic act of building a table when you were never given a seat at someone else's. This conversation is so important. And yes, it matters because women, especially women from underrepresented communities, are still fighting for visibility in spaces that were never designed with them in mind. Access to funding is still unequal. Access to network is still unequal. Access to the rooms where decisions get made is still unequal. But here's what is changing. Women like our phenomenal guest today are not waiting for the system to fix itself. They are building entirely new systems, new forums, new summits, new chambers, and filling them with the women The old system left out. Yes. Today's conversation is for every woman who has ever felt invisible in her industry, in her community, or in her calling, and needs to know that the table exists. There's room for her, and she has every right to sit down, or better yet, to build her own. Oh my goodness. There was a time when I believed that I worked hard enough, achieved enough, and proved myself enough, someone would eventually invite me to the table. I waited for the recognition. I waited for the opportunity. I waited for someone empowered to see my value and make room for me. But what I discovered was that many of the tables I was waiting to join was never designed with women like me in mind. Not because I wasn't qualified. No, not at all. Not because I wasn't capable. Not because I did not belong, but because too often systems and spaces are built around those who have always had access, while overlooking the brilliance, creativity, leadership, and vision of women who are equally deserving. For a while, that realization hurt, for sure. It made me question myself. It made me wonder whether I'm asking for too much, whether my voice was too different, whether my dreams were too big, whether there was truly a place for me. Then one day, I stopped asking for permission. I stopped shrinking my vision to fit inside rooms that couldn't hold it. And I decided to build my own table, not a small table, not an exclusive table, not a table where women had to compete for a single seat. I envisioned a global table, one wide enough for women from every background, every industry, every generation, and every walk of life. A table where collaboration mattered more than competition. A table where women could be celebrated instead of compared. A table where leadership wasn't measured by how much power you held over others, but how many people you empowered along the way. As I began building, something beautiful happened. Women start showing up. Women who had spent years feeling overlooked. Women whose ideas have been dismissed. Women who had been told they were too ambitious, too emotional, too young, too old, too loud, too quiet, too much, or not enough. Women carrying extraordinary gifts that has been waiting for the right environment to flourish. I realized something powerful. The world is not lacking talented women. No, not at all. The world is lacking space where women are fully seen. So if you're listening and you ever felt invisible in your industry, if you ever felt invisible in your community or even in your own calling, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not invisible. Did you hear me? You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not disqualified, and you do not need anyone's permission to take up space. Your experiences matter. Your perspective matters. Your voice matters. Your dream matters. All of them. There is room for you. Not because someone is doing you a favor. No. Not because you're lucky to be included. No, but because you belong. You belong fully, unequivocally, and without apology. Oh my goodness, you guys, you know, this is my favorite part of the podcast. OMG. What's that about, right? You guys know that I always find phenomenal guests to come on our show. And so this is no different. Not at all. I found another phenomenal guest. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So instead of telling you about my that I found one, let me tell you who she is. Let me tell you all about her. Oh my goodness. Here goes, you guys. You ready? You ready? Okay. Our phenomenal guests, extensive experience in entrepreneurship, in government, and nonprofits have helped her create a platform for diverse international organizations to collaborate, to share resources, and give visibility to various projects and initiatives, startups, and business specific to women at the San Francisco International Women Entrepreneur Forum. As a founder of Heroikka, our phenomenal guest, is passionate and committed to closing the gap by connecting women-led projects, by funding and support systems around the world. She is the founder of the San Francisco International Women Entrepreneur Forum, co-founder at the California Spain Chamber of Commerce, and the former vice president at the Association of American European Chamber of Commerce and Business Associations. And again, I said our guest is the founder of Heroikka and also the founder of the Woman Impact Summit, the fastest growing conference for women in business from underrepresented communities around the world. Please, please, please help me to welcome and allow me to introduce to you Micah Gill to You Are You, Unapologetically Podcast. Welcome, 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 my friend. I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad you said yes. Thank you for being here. And I'm excited as well as grateful. Thank you for being here, Micah.
Hey, thank you for that introduction, Dr. Kim. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. That it's always a pleasure to be, in a podcast, in a panel with you. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm grateful, my love. But before we jump into the juiciness of our podcast, please share with our listeners, how did we meet? How did we get connected?
Actually, we met last year around May at the WBC Summit in New York. And since the first time that we we saw each other and we got introduced, we connected, and since then we've been collaborating in different things. You participated in our summit last year, and I can't wait for you to participate in our summit this year. So yeah, we have a lot of things in our pot.
We do. And I'm so grateful and honored for it as well. And so thank you again, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so let's jump into the juiciness of this podcast. So, Micah, your work spans entrepreneurship, government, nonprofits, and international chambers of commerce across multiple countries. That is a remarkable range. And it tells me that from early on, you were not just interested in building something small. But I want to go back to the moment before all of it. Was there a defining moment, a specific experience, a room where you were in, a conversation you had, when you realized that your true purpose was to create visibility and access for women? And when that moment hit you, what did it feel like? Right? What did it feel like? Tell me all about it. I'm all ears, my friend.
Well, this is gonna sound a little bit like a cliche, like a little bit like a movie. But the but the truth is that I remember that I had a really rough week in the past job that I had, and I woke up one morning saying, and just having this thought in the back of my head, and the thought was very simple: do I have to deal with all of this again and again? And I remember going to the mirror at the bathroom, because that's the second thing that I do when I wake up. I go straight to the bathroom and I look at myself. I'm like, seriously. And in that moment, I knew that I had to do something. Um, I had to talk to people. I had to figure out why this keeps happening, and why do we always have to be apologetic about being who we are
Right.
as women, and for everyone that also identifies as a woman. Um, why we always have to be second guessed about our decisions,
Yeah.
why other bodies of the social um, uh, institutions, or different parts around the world have to make decisions for us.
Yeah.
So I think that that was the moment when I said, let's get out there and let's see if we can find more people that think in a similar way.
Yeah.
And the truth was that, yes, that's how we started a long, long, long time ago with the San Francisco International Women Entrepreneurs Forum. And when I remember that I was with the California Spain Chamber of Commerce, and I always wanted to do something for women because I saw that all the different organizations had programs and initiatives for women, but nobody was collaborating. So I said, there must be a way of actually bringing the projects, the initiatives, and everything that women are working on, and give them a better visibility. So that's in a nutshell how everything started. I remember at that time I was working for another company, and that's how everything started.
Oh, and that's a beautiful nutshell too. That is the kind of clarity that does not come from a plan. It comes from a lived experience that you simply cannot ignore. And when that purpose finds you that way, there's no going back. That's for sure. And I know that because you're still here, right? Like you're here. You did all that you've done. So you founded the San Francisco International Women Entrepreneur Forum and the Women Impact Summit, which has become the fastest growing conference for women in business from underrepresented communities. Those are not small things at all. Those are institutions. And institutions get built because someone like you looked at the world and said, this does not exist and it needs to. Why isn't it? Where is it, right? What was the gap you saw? The specific thing that was missing that made you say, I have to build this myself? And what did the early days of building look like before anyone else could see what you were creating?
Well, as you know, we are still building, and we are trying to launch the platform, but we will talk about that later. Our We had up there an MVP, but before all of this started, as you said, the first thing that we needed to do was to look at our communities.
Yes.
When we look at our communities, and especially women from underrepresented communities around the world, those are the women that are creating the biggest impact in their communities.
Yes.
And they're not being seen. They're not getting the proper access to social capital, to networks. And that was a huge problem that I saw. How I'm going to create something, how we're going to build something. And all of us, if we're building and creating this big impact in our communities, if we are not able to get access to the right networks to grow. And that was the first big problem that I saw.
Okay.
And so getting inspired by our communities, I started to look that most of the women in all the communities, they are trying, they want to provide some, I mean, they want to succeed because they want to provide better opportunities, not only for the families, but at the same time for their community. And I keep repeating the word community because usually when women are creating impact, that's the first way we reinvest in our communities.
And community is important and it's huge. So go ahead.
Exactly. So after looking at that, you discover that the whole system, it doesn't work because it's not looking at the needs of the communities. They're looking at other completely different needs. That's when we said, hey, we need to create something completely different.
Yeah.
And to have the right network to support all of this, we had to start creating and building a new ecosystem. And those are major words.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my goodness. So, because I think so many women see the gap, right? You saw the gap, but I think other people saw the gap too, but they convinced themselves that someone else will fill it. What made you be the one who decided not to wait? I'm not going to wait for someone else to fill this gap. I'm going to fill the gap.
As I said, I mean, sometimes you're seeing that there are different institutions and organizations that are trying to do something for the communities. But as you said, there is a gap. And the biggest gap is that we find institutions. And when I talk about institutions, let's define who is under this big bucket. No,
Yes.
and we have governments, we have administrations, we have corporations, we have foundations, we have public development banks. We need to start from the top and start bringing everything down because there depending on the institution, you're going to see that there's some kind of program for the communities, there's some kind of initiative, but there's still a disconnection if we don't look at the real needs and what the community is asking for at that time. We won't be able to curate the right resources or the right funding. So we are still dealing with that mismatch. And we saw that there was a big opportunity to create a better ecosystem based on access to social capital. And when I talk about social capital, depending on the part of the world that you are, it could be funding, it could be other things. But when we talk about social capital, we talk about networks, access to the right people to get clients, to get funding, to get opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. So and the connection, what do they say? It's like 5 or 6 degrees difference in our connection with the next person that we may need, that we may need in our network or want to connect with. So that is important because we do. And even like you said, you're saying community, and I indicated community is huge. In order for us, especially as women, to really do and move in the direction that our dreams want us to, right? Our goals, our desires, we have to have a community. And so that community is that network that you're talking about. And so thank you so much for that. So Heroikka is focused on connecting women-led projects with funding and support systems globally, right? And that tells me that you have spent a lot of time in spaces where vision meets resources and watched what happens when those two things, you were just talking about it, cannot find each other. Why is access to funding still such a critical barrier for women entrepreneurs, especially those from underrepresented communities? And oh, let me ask this too. Why is in my head? And in your experience, what actually needs to change? Not what sounds good for a press release, but what actually needs to change. Now you can go.
Well, so let me start.
With the barriers.
No, let me start with a tiny story.
Okay, please.
when we decided to start Heroikka, we created this MVP. And we started seeing that many women were registering their businesses, their initiatives in the platform.
Okay.
And all kinds of projects, all kinds of industries,
Okay.
all kinds of businesses. Awesome. And we started becoming some kind of marketplace, which is awesome. For the first time, we were able to see, what everyone was working on. And we thought, what would be the next step? The next step, it would be to give the proper visibility
Yes.
to all these businesses. And at the same time, we said, yeah, but if we're giving the proper visibility, funding is very important. But what is the point of getting sometimes funding if you cannot get access to the right people to grow, for instance? What is the point of getting funding if that's not the right funding for you?
Correct.
Sometimes, especially here in Silicon Valley, people get very obsessed. Oh, VCs, angels, etc. The truth is that the current funding system is not curated to our needs.
Right.
So how we're gonna succeed in a system, an ecosystem that it doesn't match our needs as entrepreneurs, as creators of different initiatives, or as women that we are building impact in our communities.
Yes.
There's no room for us. And one of the things that we need to do is look at the word funding in a completely different way.
Oh, I love that. Please wait, say that one more time.
We need to look at the word funding in a completely different way. And that's what we're trying to do. We are having conversations with different stakeholders, and we are building a new platform where we want to connect these women that are building initiatives, businesses that are helping their communities, and that are even escalating and growing worldwide with global stakeholders. Because the reasoning of this is not only that your business will be able to grow, but you will have a group of stakeholders that are going to be friendly towards your needs. They're going to be stakeholders that care as well.
Absolutely. And not be barriers. Go ahead.
Exactly. And they want to learn from the community. And this is a game changer because for the first time, we will be able to see this through the collaborations that are going to be creating in the platform, and collaborations between these women entrepreneurs and these stakeholders. And at the same time, what is really exciting is that we will be able to measure the impact of those collaborations.
Yes.
Having real data and proprietorship data. That it has not been touched by the bias of different AI or any other machine learning at this point.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So what you are describing, and I love the statement you made about funding, that we have to look at it differently. So it's not just the funding problem. We need to look at it differently. But it's a visibility problem, because you said it. What you cannot fund what you don't know, right? Or I like to say, you cannot fund what you cannot see. Some people can't see you. But I want you to know, Micah, the work that you're doing is making women impossible to be overlooked. And so thank you for sharing that. Thank you for what you're doing. I know you're working hard, and I know, your year has been crazy, but it's because of all the hard work that you're doing. And so you have built platforms, chambers, forums, and summits across multiple countries and sectors. You have created pathways for women who did not have one, didn't exist until you showed up in the room or on the call, right? But I want to speak directly to the woman who is listening right now and feel invisible. Maybe in her industry, maybe in her community, maybe inside her own organization. What is the most important thing she can do today, Micah? Like right now, with what she has, to begin stepping into her visibility unapologetically.
Well, the first rule here is be true to your nature and be
Mm,
true to yourself.
yeah.
Never forget, no matter what kind of environment you are, and no matter how tough things are, never forget to be true to yourself because that's the biggest asset that you have. And I always say this because what is amazing about this world is that you are completely different
Yeah.
to me, and I'm completely different to you, you know.
Absolutely.
And that brings creativity, ideas, changes, stories, many things.
Yeah.
And we need to learn from that. We need to get inspired from that, and that's the first thing. The
Okay.
second thing is reach out.
Mm,
Hey, reach out to me.
good job.
Shoot me an email.
Yeah.
Contact us.
Yeah.
Contact us.
Yeah.
Contact us, Dr. Kim and me. Okay. Yes,
Absolutely.
because that's especially in our case that this is what we are building all of this
Yeah.
for. No,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
uh,
Yes.
give you visibility, so you can find a community and a space where you are being heard, where you can connect with other people, where you feel that you can actually collaborate with others, that you can learn from campaigns that are being launched and otherwise you wouldn't learn about, because lately everyone is super excited about AI, but AI is always giving the same results about things that are out there. And most of it has already the bias because, if the AI is taking all their information from this general pool,
Right.
you know, in this general pool, there are many flaws. We know them because we've been dealing with them. So, what's the point of all of this if we are not getting the right information? So, that's one of the things that we want to provide as well in the platform. So, you don't have to spend time, wasting time sometimes into things that are really hard to find. And the other thing is, the third one that I always ask people is to take time to deaccelerate.
Mm,
So, what can I tell you? Every day, and you know this, Dr.
yes,
Kim,
I
we
do.
are running around,
Yeah.
running around, running around. And
Going,
sometimes,
going, 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 going. Busy, busy,
exactly,
busy, 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 busy. Yep. Go ahead, my friend.
just like the bunny in Alice in Wonderland. Oh, I'm late, you know? Uh, we need sometimes to stop and think, what do I really want to work on today? What is going to make me feel better? Uh,
Yeah.
how, how can I take this time to actually help others as well? But you cannot do that if you don't take time for yourself and start seeing, uh, let me see, under these circumstances right now, how can I do a work that is going to help me out and is going to allow me also to take care of my mental health, my body. Everything that we do affects ourselves. So, and sometimes there are periods in our life that are harder than others, and we need to consider, how to apply this word into everything:
Everything.
work, businesses, family, everything. And I think that is brilliant sometimes to take that time to do so.
Absolutely. And so thank you for that. It made me think of, earlier this year we launched a product that's called For the Rest of Your Life. Emphasis on rest for the rest of your life, right? So when you read the title, you think it's something that's coming, okay, I can do this for the rest of your life. Yes, you can, but it's for the rest. of your life. You need that rest. You have to stop. You have to do exactly what you're saying. Take care of yourself. But not only that, do it, reflect, check in. Like, what do I need? What am I feeling? What's going on in my head mentally? Am I overwhelmed with head chatter? Or right, do I just need to sit and be still and be quiet? So I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Micah. So the thing about our this podcast, right? It's You Are You Unapologetically, right? That's the name of it. And it is you being unapologetically. That's what you're doing. And you have lived in that theme, in this theme, across cultures, across governments, across industries, across entire continents, Micah. And I need you to know, again, I said it before, that's not a small thing. It's huge. So when you are moving through many different worlds, each one of us, each one with its own expectations, right? It's going to have expectations of who you should be or what you should do or how you should show up, right? What has it meant for you personally to stay fully unapologetic yourself through it all, through it all? And to be honest, like, please share, what did that cost you to stay fully unapologetic throughout all of it?
I'm gonna say something that
Say it.
maybe you're not expecting, but I think
That's
that
okay. We're not going to be caught off guard or by surprise because we're here authentic and open, and I share what's on your heart, please.
uh, the best way to be unapologetic is to have sense of humor,
Yes.
because you're gonna have to hear so many things on the
Yes.
road, and you know this. I mean, what I'm gonna tell you that you don't know, Dr. Kim. I mean, you have to hear things sometimes that I don't know how my glasses haven't cracked yet. Uh, but it's true because my face, you know, you get like, "Oh, really? You're really saying that?" Oof. uh, yeah, sense of humor. Sense of humor is
Yes.
great. Sometimes you have to laugh, you
It
know.
keeps them crying, right? You
Uh,
just have to laugh because other than that, you'll be like, oh my gosh, right? No,
yes,
I hear
and
you. I hear
yes, and it's gonna make amazing stories, that, and that's gonna pass to the history of your life, that's how it goes. Maybe you will get enough material to have a Netflix show, and I think that both of us for sure will have enough material.
right. No, I hear you. I hear you 100% for sure.
Um,
Micah, before we wrap up, I want to ask you something that I know every woman listening wants to hear. Every woman listening wants to hear. There is a woman out there right now who is still waiting, waiting for permission, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to notice her, waiting for an invite, waiting for her validation, waiting for someone to tell her she's ready. What is the most important piece of advice you would give to that woman who is waiting, especially if she's from an unrepresented community who is still waiting for someone to give her permission to take up space or give her permission to be seen or go after what she has created to build? What is that one important thing that
um,
piece of advice that you can give this woman?
I always say that I'm nobody to give advice to anyone, because to give advice to people, you have to walk in their shoes.
Come on.
And we have a completely different reality.
Yes.
And taking that into consideration, I remember the words that my my father told me once. My father was a really funny guy, and he told me once, when he saw me that I was frustrated with something. And it's kind of a mantra, you know. He looked at me and he said, "But why you worry about? You already have the no." If you already have the no, and you think that you have a no, from there, everything is positive.
Yes.
So once you look at things, once again, into a completely different perspective,
Mhm.
you are like, huh, and I've been here, wondering if I should talk, if I should intervene, if I should do this, you
Right.
know. I think that the worst thing that you can do in life is not, is wondering what you could have done and you didn't do.
Right.
So, let's do it. Let's make lots of mistakes. That's the way we learn, and that's the way we live. And that's the only way, you already have a no, no matter where you are.
Right.
From there, everything could be so positive. So,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that piece of wisdom that your dad laid on you because you just shared it with us and our listeners. Thank you so much for that. How can our listeners connect with you?
oh, So you can contact me via email if you want. Shoot me an email. My email is micah@heroica.com. You can also contact us for the summit at info at
Okay.
womanimpactsummit.com.
Cool.
And please contact us because we are building the new platform and we're going to need your feedback. And this platform, as I was mentioning earlier, will connect your initiatives and your projects with global stakeholders. And even if you don't have a business or you don't have an initiative, you are a professional woman, it will give you the opportunity to connect with other communities and from around the world, see what other stakeholders, companies, institutions are doing, and how you can connect directly with them as well. And maybe you get other hiring opportunities. Maybe you have an opportunity to share your knowledge and to create some mentorship or coaching. You never know who you're gonna meet in our community. And let me tell you, these are amazing women that even though they went through hardship or they're dealing in areas like in the United States that are more privileged than in other parts around the world, they're still facing a lot of hardship
Yeah,
because sometimes within that, because you are in certain countries, you're not going to see the same hardship and the reality is completely different.
that's true. It's
So when we use the word underrepresented, we need to look at it in a completely different way too, because unfortunately we are still underrepresented.
absolutely. No, absolutely. Okay, Micah, thank you. Thank you, my dear, again and again and again for being here. Thank you for saying yes to sharing your wisdom on You Are You Unapologetically. You are truly phenomenal for sure. And just like all the rest of my guests, right? Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate your presence. And I can't wait to see what's our next adventure holds. I can't wait for that. So, okay, my people, you just heard it from Micah Gill. That is what you're getting with this podcast. I will be right back. I'll be right back. I'm back, my beautiful people. And that conversation expanded something in me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Micah. Thank you, Micah, for dropping some serious wisdom on us today. You are so amazing and so phenomenal. Thank you so much. Okay, let's recap. Here's what I got from all that Micah shared with us, not me, with us today. Ready for it? Okay. You do not need to wait for an invitation to the table. Not at all. You have everything, and I mean everything you need to build your own. So get started now. The gap you see in the world is not someone else's problem to solve. It's your assignment. That's what it is. Visibility, that is not vanity. It is a responsibility. Visibility is a responsibility because women cannot access what they cannot see. And showing up unapologetically across cultures, industries, and borders is possible for sure. But it will cost you. Definitely. It's going to cost you something. But know this, it is worth every bit of what it costs. It's worth it. It's worth it. And the permission you have been waiting for, that permission you've been waiting for, you were never going to get it, not from the outside. So just stop waiting. Stop waiting for it. Why? Because the permission, it was always yours to give yourself. So give yourself permission. Give yourself permission right now to build that table. That just sounds so good, and it feels good too. All right, we can't go without giving you some action steps. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to identify one space where you have been invisible, where you have been shrinking. And I want you to take one visible step inside this week. Inside that space, take one visible step. Speak up, sit at the front, right? Sit closer, not in the back, and sit up front in the room, not in the back. You know what it is that you've been doing that has been making yourself invisible. Take one step. I want you to find one woman. Here's another thing. I want you to find one woman in your network who is building something important and tell her you see her and mean it. So you need to go and tell her, I see you. I see you. And you're amazing. And thank you for what you're doing. Go do that. And what I want you to say before we leave, before this episode ends, is I want you to say this out loud because, we have to speak to ourselves and we have to not just say it in our mind. We have to say it out loud so you can hear your own voice speaking to you. Here's what I want you to say. I do not need permission to take up space. I was created for this because the table you have been looking for, you were always meant to build it. Yeah, you were always meant to build it. So you got it? You got to say it all. I do not need permission to take up space. I was created for this because the table I was looking for, I've been looking for, I have always, it was always meant for me to build it. I messed that all up, didn't I? But you get what I'm saying, and I need you to say it out loud. Why? Because for too long, too many women have stood outside of rooms they were fully qualified to be in, waiting, hoping, shrinking, because nobody handed them an invitation. And here is some truth. Truth that I learned along this journey, that sometimes the highest expression of leadership is not finding a seat at someone else's table. No, sometimes it's building a new table of your own. Sometimes your purpose is so expansive that it cannot be contained by an existing structure or structures. Sometimes your vision requires creating opportunities that did not previously exist. Sometimes the very rejection that wounded you becomes the catalyst for a movement that heals others. If the door doesn't open, build a doorway. If the room feels crowded, build a larger room. If the table has no seats for you, build a longer table. And when you do, leave room for the women coming behind you. You hear me? Because success becomes meaningful when it creates access. Because influence becomes powerful when it opens doors. Because legacy is not measured by how high we climb alone, but how many people rise with us. Look around at women leading businesses, launching movements, changing communities, creating wealth, writing books, building organizations, and transforming lives. And be reminded that when women are given space to thrive, entire generations benefit. Entire generations benefit. So, to every woman who has ever questioned whether she belongs, pull up a chair. Your seat is here. Your contribution is needed. Your story matters. And if you discover that the table you're looking for doesn't exist, perhaps that's because you were never meant to find it. Perhaps you were meant to build it. And trust me, there are countless women around the world waiting to join you when you build it. But you were never created to wait for a table to be created. You were created to build the room, to set the table, and to make sure everyone who comes after you finds it a little easier than you did. Because you are you, unapologetically. And that means the visibility you carry, the access you create, the table you build, they are not just for you. They are your gifts to everyone who is still finding her way in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Micah, so much for your vision. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your global table you invited me to sit at. Thank you so much for what you spent your time, your life building. Thank you. And to everyone listening, if this episode moved you in any kind of way, please share it with another woman who needs to be reminded that she does not have to wait for a seat. She can build the whole table. The whole table. So keep rising, keep trusting, and most of all, keep being you unapologetically, because that's what we do. Ciao, ciao for now.